I was married when I started my marketing career. And then that was a very short-lived marriage. We were married for a year. It was, or 2 years. Oh my gosh. It was very short. I did find myself pregnant unexpectedly. And during my pregnancy, my ex-husband started to push me around physically. This was something that I had never seen in my own childhood. I was shocked and I immediately planned leaving him. I had absolutely zero tolerance for anybody physically touching me, of course, but also physically abusing me. But it never got to that point where so many other women are, where it's really bad. For me, it was just, I could tell it was on the horizon with this guy, and things were really bad otherwise as well. So I left him when my son was 4 months old, moved in with my mom in Athens, went from Columbus to Athens, quit that marketing internship, and started all over for $8 an hour as the secretary of my first radio station. But I had a job and I was away from him. From there, I got a job at the local visitors bureau as their communications director, and I learned how to develop and build websites and search engine optimization. And I did some social marketing on MySpace and discovered digital. And then I called a headhunter a year later, got a job in Columbus at a big agency, brought my son, of course, he's with me. And I was a single mom when I started my own agency after facing at my ad agency job. My boss told me he couldn't be alone in a room with me because he didn't know what would happen. And he was serious. He couldn't be alone in a room with me. He kept, making passes at me at work. I told HR and they tried to move me to a different department instead of reprimanding him. And he was my mentor. So
interesting. I mean, let's kind of
I know that was a lot, Brett.
It was a lot. And I want to talk about it, because what I'm seeing, and maybe it's because I know the rest of your journey to this point, is tremendous courage and strength, really, to make the moves that you're making along the way, which I would imagine in part comes from this early childhood, having the stability that you had and seeing your parents as entrepreneurs and taking risk on their own and working through issues and coming out on the other side, at times at least, right? That's got to be part of, what becomes you, because you make these jumps out of radio, as people. And also the other piece that keeps coming in here is there's a real kind of, female empowerment struggle that you're experiencing in the work world and life. You have an abusive husband. I mean, the courage to leave that, you make it sound like, well, I just, wasn't gonna, let it get, but like, that's a tough thing. Most women, or I don't know, a lot of women, I would imagine, have a hard time. You have a 4-month-old, right? To make that jump is incredibly courageous. And then to continue to be faced with this sexism in the radio industry, the morning show. I mean, that whole era was like just filled with stuff that today you would just be totally ostracized for, right? That was like you were expected. It was part of the shtick.
It was,
right, and similarly true in the. I don't know if it was specific. It wasn't, but maybe more prevalent in the agency world, but definitely in just the work environment in general, men being the more likely figures of empowerment, right? That had the jobs, were the mentors, that kind of stuff. You really were experiencing it in a lot of different stages of your life.
What's funny though? I hadn't put that string together until June of 2016. And it was, so this, if you'd like, I can connect that.
Yeah, sure, please.
So I quit the agency. Again, they tried to move me to a totally different department in an area that I didn't specialize. And I was so confounded by this situation. And I was only 27 or 28. Gosh, I should have had my chrono. I don't know. I was in my 20s. Okay.
Yeah.
And I start my agency. I meet you. I meet my first handful of clients, and it was courageous. It was terrifying. Most people don't do that. I think, growing up the way we did. So, mom and dad got and built everything that they had on their own. And mom coming from a really poor household in Chicago, and dad paying his way through medical school. And I don't know. It's just in me to just fight for what you believe in. And I have a really strong moral code that I refuse to break for anything. So money can't ever compromise that. I have proven that over and over again in life, where I'm like, nope, not going to go for that, even though it might make rational sense. I can't just look the other way.